Welcome to Home's Room. Just like homeroom, we start off our day getting together with our homies, swapping stories, even a little kiss and tell action. This podcast contains language not suitable for younger listeners, topics about sex and mental health. Discretion is advised. Our views are our own. Let class begin. Hello there. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you being here. Me and Kaitlin are hanging out, just trying to be, relaxed and chill, you know, comfort vibes. And I think Caitlin said she had something to say about being comfortable or comfort vibes that she wanted to rant about. So at some point in time, we'll get there, and I can't wait to hear this. How are
Dude,
you,
I'm
Caitlin?
already, Matt, I'm great, but I'm already giggling because the way you started, I was like, hello there. That was the most like Mr. Rogers slash, what's his face from Star Wars? Hello there. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do, but I can't think. I can't picture it. But
it literally just left my brain. But that's why I was giggling immediately as we started recording because you just said hello there. I'm like, all right, here's Mr. Rogers. Let's go.
Yeah, won't you be my neighbor? That was what I was going for. So, just it's the holidays. I was trying to be warm and inviting. Carolers on my step that I'm not yelling at because I don't want people to startle my dog and have him bark for the next 20 minutes, all that kind of stuff. No shame there.
Absolutely. I'm doing well, Matt. I'm chilling. I don't know if you guys can hear. I sound a little congested because my kids have brought home yet another plague from daycare, which that's the way that it is. My hope is that when they do get old enough to actually start public school, they will just be robots and be immune to all bugs and funkiness. But it is what it is. Nothing that some NyQuil can't fix, and it is improving my sleep too. So it's like a double dub, Matt.
Yeah, I like it. Kids bringing home like the illness and the sickness and all that stuff. It's always such a weird thing because it's like, teachers are, using hand sanitizer and, trying to promote like clean environments, and you send wet wipes and all that kind of stuff when they start school. But it's always like somehow a petri dish of like, hey, guess what? We're all sick. And then your kid comes home and it's like, oh yeah, there was only like 7 of us in class. And it's like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, everybody was sick. It's like, oh, damn it. That's never what you want. So I don't know.
I also have the fear of being like the parent that brings the sick kid into daycare and gets all the other kids sick. So it's like a fine line of balancing between like, I feel bad. I know like they're just not 100% themselves, but here I am eating my clock up PTO while they're pinging off the walls. Totally fine. All they needed was like an extra 30 minutes of sleep and they were totally themselves. And then it's also the other side of that balance is, you know what? F these parents. They're coming in bringing hand, foot, and mouth and all kinds of insane viruses I've never even heard of before. Matt, I'm so thankful to the ladies at daycare. Did your daughters ever have thrush? Do you know what thrush is?
Yeah, I do, but no, they did not.
I had no idea what the hell thrush was. So for those of you who do not know, thrush is a fungal infection inside your mouth, and it's like super common with kids. It's very contagious. And I just got a picture from one of the ladies at my daughter's classrooms when she was still in the infant room and said, oh, hey, like we just caught this like one white spot in her mouth early. We think it's thrush. There's been like 8 other kids in her class that have had it. Like it's news to me, but of course, and I was like, what the hell is thrush? It sounds like a stupid brand of like off-brand rain boots to me. I was like, I literally texted back. I was like, what the hell is thrush? So I'm thankful that, the ladies at daycare caught it early. There's medication that you give them and you just keep a close eye on it. And it's totally not a big deal. But all these other parents be bringing in the black plague and shit. So I'm like, well, fuck it.
Yeah. That's what, staying home when you're sick. That's one of those things. And like, when this episode is airing, like in the time that we are in then, it is like peak, kids and adults and everybody being sick because it's winteriness and whatnot. And, for me, I don't get sick often, and if I do get sick, it's usually like everybody else has gotten sick like 30 times, and it finally comes back around and gets me. So by the time it gets me, it's like a super bug. But I'm only
Hmm.
sick for like 2 days, so it's not like I'm down for like a week. And I don't. To me, it's like not a big deal to be like, I'm sick. I need to lay here. I'm like, I can feel my body telling me. I don't I don't understand why people are like, you know what? You might be sick, but go to school anyway. And then your kid comes home throwing up, and it's like, oh damn, I guess I should have listened. But then the next time they still don't listen. That's so weird to me.
You know, humans, we are the weirdest type of study subjects at all. I have my mentor in grad school used to say this to me all the time in her southern accent. She's like, Kaitlin, we are in the human like sciences. We just study criminology. We try to answer why people commit crimes. And humans are the weirdest test subjects ever. We fight, we kill each other, we fuck. She literally word for word said all of this to me. She was like, we fuck. It's just the weirdest thing. We are the most difficult test subjects. And Matt, let me just also tell you, you will save a lot of brain cells of your own. Like, you don't need to go down those rabbit holes to try and justify weird behavior that you will never understand. Trying to beat yourself in circles to understand it is not worth, the juice is not worth the squeeze on that one. So there's several times at work too where I'm just like, you know what? Ignorance is bliss. I don't need to sit here and ponder this because I need the brain cells that it would take for me to like reach the conclusion of figuring out the answer to why did this idiot do this dumb way? You know, like
So that what you said is funny, but the hat behind you that's been there forever, your head was just blocking the bill just a little bit, and it looks like a dog's face. And it was like the the top of it, like the blue dot. I assume it's blue, like the very center of the hat.
yes.
It looks like an eyeball, and then the way it's folded looks like an ear. And I was like, "Oh, that's a cute dog thing." And I was like, "That's not a dog thing. I'm just stupid."
No,
And
this back behind me is actually a vintage, cool as shit blues hat that was my dad's from the 90s. So,
I
go
like it.
Blizz,
Yeah.
Super St. Louis, let's go Blizz. We won the Stanley Cup once upon a time, and everybody still walks around with those bumper stickers of Stanley Cup champs 2016. Woo!
Hey, I got nothing against it as a one-time Stanley Cup winning team as well. Speaking of which, hockey's about to be back, which means that it's coming up to the end of summer, football's back and all that kind of stuff. And it's really surreal to be recording this episode for December, specifically second week of December, and it's the hottest week I so far of this summer right now. That is so bizarre.
Yeah, I stepped out of my house this morning and I literally had to swim through humidity to get to my
Yeah.
car. So I was like, yeah, I'm ready for December. I'm ready for fall, all the
Yeah.
things. I was breaking out all my sweaters earlier, just getting all geared up.
It's same. It was so hot. It was like it looked like it was foggy, but it wasn't fog. It was the humidity, that like the haze from how humid it was. And that was at like what, like 8 o'clock this morning when we went to school and dropped the girls off and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's so, like I said, it's so weird to be thinking December and Christmas. But I'm gonna put it on blast again because I want people to be excited about it because I'm excited about it. You pitched the idea. You know what we should do? We should get gifts for each other and open them on the show. And I was super excited. I went out this weekend and I got you some stuff. And one of them is sitting on my recording space right now, and I'm looking at it. So it's like just a reminder this entire time to be excited about it. And then I'm gonna hopefully, as long as I remember and don't do that thing where I come home and be like, damn, I forgot to go to UPS. I will UPS it tomorrow, so it should be there. And I'm super excited about this because one, I love giving gifts, but two, like this is such an interesting concept, and real time experiences lived are like, I don't know, it's just something about them where it's like, oh, and there's a video element of this, so
Hmm.
we'll see it and we'll be able to relive it, when it happens around Christmas and
So
be
to
excited.
clarify, I got the idea. Matt and I have never met each other in real life. We record once a week for an hour, almost every week for several months now. This is like our hangout time, record the pod bullshit with all of you, this, that, whatever. I said, you know what, for Christmas this year, we should mail each other gifts and open them on the pod to give each other Christmas gifts. Both of us, very on brand for both of our love languages. So I'm very excited for you to open the gifts that I have gotten you. And I also need to do the same thing. I'm like maybe when you go to the post office tomorrow, text me like, hey bitch, go to the fucking post office.
Buddy system. I just thought about it, and it's like we are like pseudo pen pals, and that's so interesting.
It's the weirdest thing, like technology, all the fun things. I saw a reel the other day where it's inmates that like post like, hey, this is what I'm into. This is who I am. Like, write to me, be my pen pal. I'm like, okay, this is like a podcast version of it, but neither of us are federal inmates, so we've got that
Yeah,
going for us, you
that is
know.
true. We are walking about. That is a solid plus that we got. Um,
Dub.
um, I I find it so interesting, and we've been able to have fun conversations and enlighten each other. I would imagine, because I know you've enlightened me, but like specifically today's episode that aired, and we record on Mondays, so it's kind of interesting because we get to hear the episode that came out hopefully that Monday, and then we record. So like today, the episode that dropped was the one where we interviewed my mom, and we recorded a special little greeting to wish her happy birthday, because her birthday is later on in this week, past tense. But listening to that episode again, and I just like, you did such a good job asking questions. Like, I had no idea what questions you prepared, so like you did such a good job, and there was like stories that, or I shouldn't say stories, but little facts that like I didn't even know. And listening to it again, it was like hearing my mom tell a story to somebody for the first time while also hearing it again for the first time, and I think that was really cool.
I feel like I really appreciate you giving us the opportunity to sit down and even like talk to your mom. I feel like maybe because of my experience with both my parents dying, I kind of like approached it a different way. When I sat down with that, specifically asking her questions about you and Courtney and your daughters, like I wanted to use it as an opportunity to create something cool that you all would cherish, like long after she's no longer with us. And you only have so many opportunities to do something like that. I've also been like super hot and heavy into writing blog posts related to grief lately. So maybe that's just like where my default brain is right now. But like, I was like, yeah, this is like a really cool opportunity to do something unique for all of you. And hopefully your mom had blast. It was a really cool episode. If you haven't listened to it, go back in time and check it out. But it's also like super interesting timing that you somehow managed to schedule the episode to release the week of her birthday. So yes, we did weeks and weeks later jump back in and record a happy birthday message to her. So that was really cute. So
Yeah.
Shout out Mama Holmes.
You gave such life to an interview, and she was super nervous going into it, and you handled her with like care. And I think that, as a podcaster and as an interviewer and as just a human, like that element and that thing that you were able to accomplish is not something that like you should forget. It's something that you should definitely feel accomplished in, because like I was just there to like hear the conversation. I kind of wanted to just sit back and listen, and I got to do it twice essentially, and I appreciated it just as much both times. She was nervous and didn't know how it would be or whatnot, and I think that we're trying to get her to warm up to the idea that she did a good job, because
Of course she did a good job. Are you kidding me? And all of you need to go make sure that you leave a like, review, comment, all of those things to tell Mom Holmes that she did a great job. And also shouts out to her to embrace something that made her nervous and feel the fear and do it the hell anyway. She's very brave in that front, and I'm still struggling with starting my own podcast. So shout out Mama Holmes for a well-timed reminder of put your big girl panties on and fucking deal with your shit,
Yeah, there you go. Speaking from the past to the present, reaching out and touching you. I love it. You said something about a review, and I wanted to address an elephant in my room, which is number one, go do reviews, because I want you to do reviews. But you can get a sticker too if you do that
Mm-hmm.
and show us
Mm-hmm.
that you did it. But I got a random comment on the video I posted about how if you do a review and send us a screenshot to our DMs and want a sticker, we'll send you a sticker. Homes Room sticker, looks like the logo. But I got a comment that was like, I'll do a review if you do a 30-minute, if you take 30 minutes to talk about how Aliens is the best sci-fi movie ever created. And in my head, I was like, I don't know that I could talk about Alien for like 30 minutes, but I genuinely think that there of comments to get, that was probably not one of the worst ones to get. So, like if you're gonna just like keep hitting our social media with like random comments like that, yeah, I'm fine with it, whatever. But I still want people to go do reviews. So if you're hearing this and you want to do a review, go do a review, get a sticker. Me and Kaitlin would appreciate it.
Absolutely. And if you want us to review some off the wall stuff, we absolutely are more than happy to do that too. But let's put a pin in the Alien conversation because I've actually never seen the movie.
Really?
I haven't. I know some general references of it because back in my college days, I used to watch Family Guy a lot. And I know that there are some alien references in there, something about the mouth that comes out of the
Yeah.
alien's mouth. Maybe spoiler alert. I don't know. That movie's also like, sidebar, what's the back date for like spoiler alert? Like if the movie came out in the 90s, do I actually have to preface the fact that aliens have, like the aliens' mouths and heads have little things that come out that have another mouth and another head? Like, is that technically a spoiler alert? Hold on.
I would say, my personal opinion would be anything 10 years plus, just like a vehicle is no longer considered late model after 10 years. I would think that a spoiler is no longer a spoiler after 10 years. Like that's just, you've had the ability to see it, and pop culture has probably ruined it if it was.
Okay.
You find it?
Yes. The movie Alien was released May 25th, 1979.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's wherever we're at in our backdate of spoiler alerts. That's good.
Yeah.
So the movie Aliens, which I guess is the second, came out in 1986. Alien 3 came out in 92, and Alien Resurrection came out in 97. How many damn Alien movies did they need, Matt? Apparently 4.
There's more than that. There's 2 newer ones,
What?
and then another one I think is on the way. So there was Prometheus and Covenant, and then I don't remember what the new one is called, but there's a new one coming out. I think it's next year. It's either this fall or next fall, with the writer strike and everything going on right now, and like actor strike and stuff. There's I can't remember if they pushed it. I think they might have pushed it. I'm not for sure.
Which, shout out, I have been following all of those, everything with the writer's strike. And honestly, I hope by the time that this episode comes out, there's something more positive that we can report back on other than what is still there, which we're on probably day 90 something of the writer's strike. I've been following them on Instagram and paying attention. I just went out to LA probably about 2 months ago. If I had more time in my schedule, I was seriously entertaining going to a picket line with them because if you're not paying attention to what these corporations are doing to creatives who literally just want a living wage to be able to survive off of and full creative access to their own likeness, please pay attention. And I'm still very new to the importance of unions. I didn't grow up in around too many people that were in unions or people that were necessarily super blue collar, which is how unions are more popular in my neck of the woods of the country. So there's still a lot that I do need to learn. But in terms of this past year where I've gone on this like fun self journey of embracing creativity and realizing that if you ever want to root for an underdog, root for somebody that chooses to flex their creative muscle every single day and try to survive off of the fruits of that labor, because that's a damn underdog. But yeah, so I think there's a lot of projects that are kind of up in the air right now with the writer's strike and now the actor's strike. And they're also getting other unions. I don't know if you saw that there are like flight attendants that are out now too, that are out on the picket lines. supporting. So there's been some petty shit going on with some of these picket lines. I think Universal Studios had suddenly, weirdly shut down a bunch of sidewalks that the picket line had been set up on. And there's all kinds of ambiguous striking, picketing rules that are very interesting to watch in terms of, union other workers that are on projects trying to get filming projects shut down. They successfully shut down one of the Avengers filming locations the other day, and we're celebrating. So yeah, I think the fallout from all of this is going to be very interesting to watch, especially years down the road when all of these projects are pushed so far. So, for example, clearly falling down a rabbit hole here, I saw that the next season of what's that HBO show with Zendaya?
Euphoria?
Yes,
No.
Euphoria.
Yeah.
So, as things currently stand, the next season of Euphoria is not going to be slated to be released until like 2026 or something, with how far behind all the writing and filming and everything is. And by that point, like almost every single main character is going to be well into their 30s, still trying to play high schoolers.
Oh,
which
wow.
is so interesting to see how all of that's going to kind of get adjusted. Because you saw a lot of these TV shows and creative projects when COVID hit. Some of them just took it in stride and actually integrated COVID into their storyline so that they could continue filming and it not be anything super weird. So I don't know. We'll see if somebody will take a cheap shot and work in like a writer strike into their storyline of their show just to work in a delay.
I as a writer and as a friend of like a lot of people that write, and I have a few friends in the film industry, like that's something that really like interests me. Like I actually thought about going to school for it. But there's a podcast I listen to, and if you're curious about any of this or you want to hear from somebody that's like that was in it in the thick of it, it's obviously going to be kind of dated when this comes out. But a podcast I listen to, it's breaking down the 2023 writer strike, and it's a podcast called Breaking Out of Breaking In, and it was an episode like from May, and it's with one of the organizers of the strike. So it's
Is that Adam Conover?
No, Brandy Nicole.
Okay, yeah.
And I remember listening to this episode and thinking how amazing it was, and hearing her talk about, you know, the place that she lives, the small tiny place that she lives in LA is 3 or 4 times more than her house that she has with her family in I think she's in Memphis is where she was. So like the prices of just living for them, because they have to be close enough to the studio to be able to pop in when they need to pop in, and like just her stories in general about all of it, but also about the strike as it was and what they were asking for, and they would have you believing that they're asking for a ton. And if I remember correctly, it's like something like 98 million or something is what they're trying to make people believe it is. And that's not like in general, that's total. That's like the entire amount for everybody that is striking, not just, you know, like I want 98 million, he wants 98 million, but like specifically the entire amount. And I thought that was crazy that like they weren't asking for a ton. They are just asking for, you know, equal, I guess is what I would say, or like livable. So that's crazy.
So you're talking about basic cost of living in LA for somebody that is making a super brave choice to be a creative person for a living, barely getting by, probably not even really getting by, depending on what their specific situation is. So I just very quickly Googled what the CEO of Netflix makes. Um, Executive Chairman Reed Hastings is set to receive a $500,000 salary and $2.5 million in stock. And then the two co-CEOs, Ted Sarandos and Greg Peters, will each collect an annual salary of $3 million. One of the co-CEOs stands to receive an additional $20 million in stock and is eligible for a bonus of up to $17 million.
Oh, wow.
What the fuck do CEOs even do?
I don't know, but from my experience, make poor decisions. Like that's what I got. Is they decide they send out really nicely written thank you for all of your service letters. I can tell you that because I've seen plenty of those from CEOs, and they're even robotically signed.
I do not understand this. And it's in their best interest for them to come to the table with those who were striking. It's so, I don't know. I personally have a lot of respect for what they're doing right now all across the country. Like, they are having organized picket fences on all of these major corporation sites all across the world. New York, LA, they've had some over in Beijing, China, Japan. They've had them all over the country, especially over in the UK too. It's in everybody's best interest for all of them to sit down at the table to have a better conversation. And I think it's super understated what they're doing for all of the creatives that come after them. I think the last writer's strike, they were on strike for over 100 days before there was actually some type of agreement met. So I don't know, homie.
Yeah. Hopefully, when this airs, we're like it's old news. Like they have gotten past this, and everything is like getting ready to run smoothly, and AI isn't of issue as the way that it seems like they are trying to make it. So kind of random, I guess, like rabbit hole connected to this. Yeah. So the the nun, the actress that plays the nun, uh, I was saying that her likeness is not getting her paid the way that it should. So a lot of creature design, you don't get paid your likeness because you have prosthetic on. You don't. It doesn't look like you. However, for her, it's more makeup and her face than it is prosthetic. So she's right now suing for like arguably what she's owed because the likeness is her. It's not just a regular creature design. And it also makes me wonder whether or not the people that make those creature designs, what they get in royalties, because their design is what ultimately like is selling.
Yeah, I totally agree. And chase your bag, girl. Bonnie Aarons is her name.
Yes,
She filed a
correct.
lawsuit for obscuring and hiding her portion of the royalties in sales. So she's suing Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Super weird. Oh, that's so
That,
interesting.
yeah, that one caught me because the reason that made sense was because they are using her likeness, and they were from what the articles said is they were trying to, like you said, obscure the amount they made, because she's like most movies, that actor wouldn't get paid those royalties because they're just a creature design. They are just the actor, so they would get paid whatever they get paid for the acting, not the royalties for their likeness, because she is the nun. It's so crazy. I would have never thought about that as even a thing, because like that's not a common occurrence in horror movies like that.
Absolutely, it's not. It's also not a super common occurrence. Her character, the nun, made cameo appearances in The Conjuring 2 and that Annabelle movie that came out.
Mm-hmm.
So the success of her character and those cameos resulted in her actually getting spin-offs on the nun. So she's arguing that she's owed almost $370 million because The lawsuit also claimed that about 365 million gross worldwide since the character first appeared in The Conjuring 2, including the merchandise. So again, you're saying like her likeness and all that. Despite the character becoming a success, she was only paid by Warner Brothers $71,500. The company did not share the money risen from the merchandise, exploiting Miss Aaron's likeness. Wow.
That's
so super
crazy,
on brand,
right?
and like great timing when we're having larger conversations about AI, because like these studios were doing, and I don't know too much about it. I haven't done a ton of research. I'm just hearing like second and third hand kind of like what's going on. But apparently these larger film studios were trying to get rid of the heavy lift of having background characters come in, and long filming days, intense filming schedules, more humans you introduce onto a set. I'm sure the more complicated that moving parts get. So their solution was to just scan people's faces and take essentially have
Yeah.
AI generated background characters. So you, as a struggling actor, just come in, get your whole, this is some Black Mirror shit. Essentially, this is super dystopian entertainment. But you would come in as a struggling actor, get paid like a one-time $500 fee, and then see yourself in the background character for movies for years and years to come. Like, how is that an even trade-off for the creative? Especially when... If we're falling into the rabbit hole of AI generated background characters, wouldn't they just make up AI people that don't actually really exist?
That'd be interesting. I know what you're talking about too. And that was like in perpetuity. So like they were going to be able to use that person's likeness forever. And I thought that was like when I read that, like I said, I have friends that's where they're at in their careers. And like when I read that, I just I couldn't wrap my mind around like how good of a deal that sounds. That like to somebody that's struggling and just needs to eat. Yeah, why would I not do that? Why would I not go do this? Because at least it guarantees me, $500 right now in my pocket, and that might get me to next week or the week at whatever it is, or and depending on what they're offering, you do it a couple of times and for different reasons, or a couple of different studios, or you get paid a fee for your voice, a fee for your your face, your fee for your whole body. Like at that point you're like, man, maybe this is worth it, at least to get through right now. And then you're screwed, and people are like, oh well, why would we hire you when we have digital you and we already paid for that? And it's like that. It's so crazy.
Yeah. I don't know, hopefully when this episode comes out in December we will have a more positive update.
As we were talking about this, I can't wait to hear this when it comes out, just to hear how different the world is, because it could be this particular topic could be like vastly different. And like we not steer away from politics, but like we try and keep it light enough around politics, so like we don't have as much like current eventy stuff in our episodes. That this is like the most like prominent current event right now that like could be vastly different in a few months, and that's super interesting.
Which I think is still super fitting for what we're trying to do here as creatives or new creative newbies. I think any support and any boosting to anybody's message we can give is never a bad thing. But yeah, it's probably the longest conversation we've ever had about a current event. So I don't know, maybe this whole thing will be boring as hell in December because there'll be some like giant other thing going on. I don't know, hopefully we'll see. Right. But yeah, so if you're all right with that, I would like to jump into my That's What She Said for the episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is super on brand. If you can't see me right now, which is honestly sorry that you can't.
First thing I said was, you look comfortable.
So I am currently wearing, hold on, backtrack. Can you tell my ADHD meds have worn off for today? Jesus H. So I am of the generation that grew up every single Thursday. I'd come into work and I'd watch the new Jenna Marbles episode. Now she's been off YouTube for about 2 years. But the genius that is Jenna Marbles came up with this term called the leisure suit. And it is what I am currently wearing right now. These are new satiny pajamas. I got the pants on too. They're in this beautiful royal blue color. Love it. Looks great on a pale bitch like me. What I'm also wearing that you can't really see is this bomb ass necklace. Shout out Ahava Jewels. They repurpose old designer like metal plates, then branding. They upcycle them into pieces of jewelry. So it looks like I'm wearing a Prada necklace right now. Bitch, this ain't Prada. It's fucking upcycled jewelry. And it's a gold masculine chain that won't tarnish on me. So that's really what the appeal for that is. I got some Lauren Hope studs in. I got a masculine ass Lauren Hope bracelet on. I'm wearing my leisure suit. I got some water. I'm chilling here with my homie Matt. And all of this is super on brand for the rant. Oh, I forgot to mention, I got a new nail set where my Too Much gene came out. And I've got so many gems and rhinestones on my nails that just call me Cardi B, you know? Super on brand for my rant for this week, which is all about the topic of self-care and how self-care can look different depending on the day. Sometimes self-care are good choices and sometimes self-care are maybe not so great choices. But everything is tuning into your body, tuning into your needs and what you need for that day. So sometimes self-care for me is putting on an obnoxious amount of jewelry in a leisure suit to sit down and record with my friend Matt. Other days, it is eating a pint of Haagen-Dazs chocolate ice cream. Some days it's going to the gym and lifting for a heavy session for about 2 hours and making sure that I eat clean for that day and have a protein shake and do my best to take care of my body, drink my gallon of water. Other days it's vegging out and watching YouTube videos for a solid 6 hours and not really accomplishing anything else productive. Other like probably more off the wall things that I do for self-care. It bothers me when my phone is going off all the time. So recently, what I've started to do with all of my social media apps, for all my social media apps, I've done this for probably better part of 3 years now. I don't have notifications turned on for any of my social media apps. No pop-ups, no alerts for likes or shares or new comments. For any, and I'm not even on that many social media platforms. I have Threads, I have Instagram and Facebook, and I also have Messenger, but I really don't check Facebook or Messenger too much. But I do not have all of my notifications turned on, first and foremost, because my ADHD cannot handle it. I cannot handle new notifications coming across my damn phone screen all the time, all day, every day. But it's also a conscious choice because sometimes social media is not a very healthy place for me to be mentally. I can also notice a kind of shift in my behavior when I'm chronically online, I guess is what I'll call it, to the point where I have a great community of awesome people that I hang out with on Discord. We voice chat, we stream TV shows and movies. We have a Minecraft server together. Last couple months, I've turned all the notifications off on that too, because being chronically online and in what feels like 20 different group messages is very draining on me and my social battery. So self-care can be turning off your notifications. I go as far as turning off my notifications for my texts. There are certain people that you will have to check my phone to pry it out of my cold, dead body to figure out. There's certain people on my text list that I never see their text notifications come through. And actually right now, as we're recording this, all my text messages are no notification. I only go in and check them when I am in a good place too. That's self-care for me, is disconnecting. All the way up to the crazy, insane concept of just having a full-on digital detox, where I don't have my phone on me. I'll go a full weekend with my phone off and shoved in a drawer. Like even just the act of turning my phone off and removing it from me makes me feel better. So Self-care looks different on different days. Sometimes you need to put on a leisure suit and fake it till you make it. But whatever your self-care is for you, as long as you are safe, you are in a good place mentally, or you are working your way to getting to that, to the better version of yourself, the more well-rested, not burnt out version of yourself that people will enjoy being around. Make sure that you make that a priority. I feel like everybody wants to have these buzzwords about, oh, self-care is journaling and pampering yourself and doing some meditation and all, which sometimes self-care looks like that. Self-care also looks like maybe just going on and buying something on Amazon because you feel like it. Use those credit card points, bitch. That's like free money anyways. So I just felt very convicted to at least share something about that topic, because I had kind of a rougher weekend with the kiddos. My husband was away at a horseshoe tournament because that is a Hoosier thing that we do in the Midwest here. And part of my weekend involved going to Target with my 2-year-old and getting us both a new set of pajamas. I got her a little leisure suit too, and we watched some hot dog and chilled out and ate ice cream together. And I felt rested. I slept great that night. So self-care looks different. Make sure that you're paying attention to yourself, giving yourself and loving on yourself enough to give yourself some self-care and self-love. Because it sounds super cliche to say, Matt, especially coming from this mouthy bitch. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't help anybody else unless you help yourself first. So it's probably taken me way too long as an adult to learn that. But it's not ever selfish to love on yourself and give yourself some self-care when you know that you have to do that first before you can take care of anybody else. And that's what she said, Matt.
I like that. Question. So, if you don't mind, when when does your like gas gauge start, turn on that light saying, "Hey, you might need to take care of this." Do you have a moment where you can pick it up, or is it just like all of a sudden like, "Damn, we're on E, we need to go do something."
It's more like that. It's more the second one. I like to give myself or play the illusion that I'm self-aware. I'm really not most of the time. And it hits me like a freight train where I'm like, I am just so completely drained and burnt out. I'm exhausted. Like, it's not going to be a very productive day at work for me. I'm turning off all my notifications, and all I'm trying to do is get to the end of the day and go to bed. And that's okay. That's productive. I don't know. I think it depends. Lately, especially in the last year or so, it's definitely more of the second, like, oh shit, I'm on E and the gas light's been on, bitch. Like, let's take care of ourselves, please.
I think people can probably relate to that for sure.
A continued choice for me with self-care has also been continually going through the very frustrating thing of having uncomfortable conversations with my doctor about my medication needs too, which I've set the boundary that, I don't talk too much about like my meds, or I don't talk too much about in great detail publicly about what those are. But if any of you have any questions, I wrote a whole book about it. One of the chapters is Lexapro saved my life, and therapy is not a dirty word. So obviously I love to have some measure of conversation about it, but making sure that I'm loving myself enough to know that, yes, antidepressants help me, but there is a little bit of work in finding out like what I needed 8 months ago might not be what I need now. So when we have to have those conversations of let's revisit, the dosages or take something out or add something new, loving myself and loving my loved ones enough to struggle through that uncomfortable transition is definitely another form of self-care. But yeah, I think it's really important. And I wish I would have had somebody a long time ago telling me that. So I'm going to do what I can to tell all of you that now.
Good. Listen, people, she said it because that's what she said. I I think that it's always refreshing for me to hear those conversations and people putting themselves out there like that. Like, people might consider me brave for doing whatever it is that I do, but I think people like you saying, "Hey, like, it's okay to, essentially not be okay, but it's also okay to spend that money on Amazon, to go get yourself a leisure suit, to, sit down and veg out if that's what's necessary." And not saying it in a, like, when people say it to me, it's usually like a retroactive thing, and that always bugs me because it's like, but I still know all the things I needed to do, and you saying that now doesn't help me get those things done.
But
But you
see, Matt, that's what I struggle with this still to this day. We are in such a hustle culture that it makes me nauseous. And especially when you have these alpha gym bros who are like, if you're not up every day at the gym at 5 a.m., eating a whole bird for breakfast with protein, and you're not living out your dreams every single day of your life, then you're a beta and you don't deserve, like, it's so toxic. This full on 100% of the time breakneck pace of productivity, and like I can't even have a hobby unless it results in something productive. Like, I was like, oh, I'm really into Canva. Like, wouldn't it be so cool to like sit and like, explore my own version of creativity? But I feel like it's only going to be worth it if I'm like making them into stickers that I can sell on Redbubble. Like, that's a good use of my time. No, bitch. No. Resting is productive. And anyone who wants to pretend like some days all you need is to veg out in front of Netflix or start a new world and get lost in it in Minecraft for like a solid 12 hours plus, like, anyone who doesn't believe that that is a productive task, I feel that because that was me a while ago. I totally understand. But I wish I would have learned so much sooner in adulthood that rest is a productive task, and it's not something that you have to apologize for, because no one is built to go 110%, 120% of the time. It's just impossible. It's not possible. And so much of the world tells us that all we have to do is grind and save all this money and put this all away in retirement. Y'all, we're living life now. I mean, if I'm going to buy a damn leisure suit from the Target and I'm going to waste 25 doll hairs and pretend like that's the only thing that's separating me from a healthy and functioning retirement someday, newsflash, bitches, Social Security's running out as is, okay?
Yeah, for sure. I had that conversation with my mom yesterday.
Like, we're all trying to reach this finish line of like retirement, and that's when we get time to, like, no, like, life is happening right now. And I feel like I've had to relearn that too in motherhood and in marriage and in kind of still being younger in my career. Like, you are paying your dues and you're grinding and everything's a grind and you're trying to work towards, the next raise, and life is happening right now too, and when we're done here recording, Matt, I'm going to curl into bed. I'm going to take some NyQuil so I can breathe out of my nose. And I'm going to play some Minecraft, and I'm going to enjoy myself and enjoy the life that I have right now, because work's still going to be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know, probably a rabbit hole, a little bit of a rant, but like, I just feel like I've definitely needed a reminder occasionally that, like, you do not have to apologize for resting. Like, no is a full sentence. And I feel like it's just super on brand with some of the conversations that we've had lately too about setting boundaries for the holidays. Like, you're not obligated to do anything you don't want to do. My husband, in a perfect world, He's fucked off all weekend, always hanging out with his friends, doing everything. I'm the opposite. Like, I always grew up with weekends or time at home, take care of the home, take care of yourself, go out, endure the world for the week, and, do the same thing. So it's been a fun balance, but we balance each other out where I'm like, no, I'm not going to drag our kids to the 2-day long horseshoe tournament that you were in last weekend. I'm going to be home in my leisure suit eating cookies with our 2-year-old watching damn hot dog.
Yeah. I just want to say, you just said no is a full sentence, and that shit that hit really hard. I like that. That might be a another sticker idea.
Ooh.
No is a full sentence.
It is a full sentence, and there is a period after the fucking word. No.
Yeah.
Let's all practice together. No.
No. There you go. I love that a lot. And I appreciate that you taking care of yourself, because when you're good, we're good. And I think that, like, I noticed that difference. We chat for a little bit before the episode. Sometimes we chat a little bit after the episode, and knowing that, like, the peace of mind that, like, you're taking care of yourself, and you did something, and even more so when you're like, no, I actually want to talk about this on the episode because it's a good point. Like, those are my favorite, because I know that means that, like, you put thought into it and you came out the other side of whatever. So I always appreciate those, and I
We'll put
appreciate
it into practice too. I appreciate you bringing me. I appreciate you appreciating me. So let's appreciate this moment.
It's appreciation circle.
But it's putting it into practice too. It's not just sitting here and, like, ranting to our listeners that still, for whatever reason, enjoy listening to me fall down rabbit holes, because my ADHD meds sometimes have worn off when we sit down to record. It's putting it into practice, but also I'm a vocal processor, so my that's what she said's are, I've said it in prior episodes, my that's what she said's are usually good reminders for myself too, that I need a good reminder of some of these things too sometimes. So here I am in my leisure suit, conscious choice to record this week's episode in it.
Yeah. That was really good. Hopefully you guys listened and had fun and learned something about the writer's strike, which hopefully is not going on when this episode airs. Hopefully you learned something about taking care of yourself and leisure suits and Jenna Marbles and such with her face lookers and whatnot. So we just want to thank you, and another shout out to leaving reviews, and not being afraid to leave a review, even if you don't leave words. If you just leave stars, we're good with that. We just want to know that you guys are enjoying it, and we want other people to find us as well. So continue to do that. And, like, for real, if you got something you want us to talk about, if you want to talk about or you want us to talk about a random movie and our opinion on it, like, send it in. Tell us that's what you want us to do. I can't promise we've seen it, but maybe we'll watch it and talk about it. I've tossed around the idea of doing, like, a solo episode where, like, I review a movie, or I watch a movie, or a movie that, like, is my, like, one of my favorites or something like that, and I watch it, write some notes, maybe force Courtney to get on an episode where we review some movies.
Yes, Courtney, please. Please do it. And I want it to be, if you ever do that, I want it to be a movie that's so off the wall that you and Courtney look at each other and you're like, ain't no way in hell we're going to like this movie. Because that's always when you're like, oh my gosh, I might actually like something different.
This isn't going to be a story because this is the end of the episode. But I will say our first date was to The Fountain with Rachel Weisz and Hugh Jackman. And I don't know if you've ever seen this movie. And anybody listening that has seen this movie is like, oh my God, that movie was so trippy. It was like a couple time traveling, I guess. It was like different iterations of the same couple in different universes and timelines, and like, but it wasn't, it didn't make any sense. It was so so abstract, but it was our first date, so it holds a special place in our hearts because of that. So yeah. If you ever want to, like, that's one that we could review, and maybe it would be worth it. I don't know.
That'd be really cute and a very fun journey down memory lane for you. Because the same reason that the fountain is memorable for you in court is the same reason why what is it? Captain America, the Winter Soldier is the same thing for Luke and I. Because that was our first date, and then we went to half price appetizers at Applebee's after. True love.
We might have done the same thing, but in reverse. I don't remember where we went first, but I think it was either that or Chili's. I don't remember. That was a long time ago. But yeah. Ooh. So thank you. See, there you go. Send in your first dates, and we can talk about your first dates. You send them in soon enough. Maybe we'll plan a Valentine's Day episode and talk about people's first dates, reading them on the air. See what happens. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thanks for being in your leisure suit. It does look super fucking comfortable, just saying. Also, your nails definitely looked on point. I could see them, but I couldn't see the detail until you held them up to the camera. So, yep.
Shout out to Deco Manny because they're stickers.
There you go. Shout out to all of the things.
Thanks, fam. We will catch you next week on the Homesroom podcast.
Bye. The bell is about to ring. If you want to drop us a voice message or simply ask a question, you can do that by clicking the link in the show notes below. Be sure to leave us a 5-star review. It helps more people find us. Theme music by Kinsey. More music available on Spotify. Remember, every day is a class. Go learn something.